Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. As-salatu was-salamu ala Rasulihil Kareem. Assalamu alaikum. Today we will continue with Surah As-Saffat and we will cover ayat 114 to 132 inshallah. We have 4 learning objectives. So the first one is, what favor did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala confer upon Prophet Musa alayhi salam and Prophet Harun alayhi salam? Then number 2, how did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help Prophet Musa alayhi salam and Prophet Harun alayhi salam? And then number 3, what is mentioned about Prophet Elias's nation? And then number 4, what do these ayat mention about the punishment for denying Prophet Elias alayhi salam? Okay, now I'm going to recite the ayat one by one, and these are all short ayat, so I will recite an ayat and then I'll give you the meaning, so you follow along with me. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. وَلَقَدْ مَنَنَّا عَلَى مُوسَى وَهَارُونَ. And indeed we bestowed favors upon Musa alayhi salam and Harun alayhi salam. وَنَجَّيْنَاهُمَا وَقَوْمَهُمَا مِنَ الْكَرْبِ الْعَظِيمِ. And we saved them both and their people from the great distress. وَنَصَرْنَاهُمْ فَكَانُوا هُمُ الْغَالِبِينَ. And we helped them so they became victors. وَآتَيْنَاهُمُ الْكِتَابَ الْمُسْتَبِينَ. And we gave them both the clear book, which is the Torah. وَهَدَيْنَاهُمَ الصِّرَاطَ الْمُسْتَقِيمِ. And we guided them both to the straight path. وَتَرَكْنَا عَلَيْهِمَا فِي الْآخِرِينَ. And we left for them both a word of praise among the later generations. Salamun ala Musa wa Harun. Peace be upon Musa alayhi salam and Harun alayhi salam. Inna kadhalika najzil muhsinin. Indeed, this is how we reward those who are righteous. Innahuma min ibadina al-mu'minin. Indeed, they were both of our believing servants. وَإِنَّ إِلْيَاسَ لَمِنَ الْمُرْسَلِينَ. And indeed, Ilyas alayhi salam was surely one of the messengers. إِذْ قَالَ لِقَوْمِهِ أَلَا تَتَّقُونَ. When he said to his people, do you not fear Allah? أَتَدْعُونَ بَعْلًا وَتَذَرُونَ أَحْسَنَ الْخَالِقِينَ. Do you invoke the idol Baal and forsake the best of creators? Allah Rabbakum wa Rabba Abaikumul Awwaleen. That is Allah who is your Lord and the Lord of your forefathers. فَكَذَّبُوهُ فَإِنَّهُمْ لَمُهْزَرُونَ. Then they denied him, therefore indeed they will surely be brought for torment. إِلَّا عِبَادَ اللَّهِ الْمُخْلَصِينَ. But not the chosen servants of Allah. وَتَرَكْنَا عَلَيْهِ فِي الْآخِرِينَ. And we left for him a word of praise among the later generations. Salamun ala Ilyasin. Peace be upon Ilyas alayhi salam. Inna kadhalika najzil muhsinin. Indeed, this is how we reward those who are righteous. Innahu min ibadina al-mu'minin. Indeed, he was of our believing servants. Okay, so now we'll go over each ayat one by one. So starting with ayat 114. وَلَقَدْ مَنَنَّا عَلَى مُوسَى وَهَارُونَ. And indeed, we bestowed favors upon Musa alayhi salam and Harun alayhi salam. So now the question is, what favor did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala confer upon Prophet Musa alayhi salam and Prophet Harun alayhi salam? Allah granted prophethood to both of them. So of the many favors that were bestowed upon them, the biggest favor was that they were made prophets. And that's the highest status that can be achieved in this world. وَنَجَّيْنَاهُمَا وَقَوْمَهُمَا مِنَ الْكَرْبِ الْعَظِيمِ. And we saved them both and their people from the great distress. So from which great distress? were Prophet Musa alayhi salam and Prophet Harun alayhi salam and their nation saved. So their nation is the Bani Israel. They were saved from Pharaoh's oppression. وَنَصَرْنَاهُمْ فَكَانُوا هُمُ الْغَالِبِينَ, and we helped them so they became victors. How did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help Prophet Musa alayhi salam and Prophet Harun alayhi salam? He gave Prophet Musa alayhi salam and Prophet Harun alayhi salam dominance over the Pharaoh. So there is a long story of Prophet Musa alayhi salam that we'll study in book 2, but the point is that eventually Prophet Musa alayhi salam and Prophet Harun alayhi salam were victorious over Pharaoh and all his armies. وَآتَيْنَاهُمَا الْكِتَابَ الْمُسْتَبِينَ, and we gave them both the clear book, which is the Torah or the Torah. Which book did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give to Prophet Musa alayhi salam and Prophet Harun alayhi salam? He gave them the Torah. Which characteristic of the Torah is mentioned in this ayat? The characteristic that is mentioned is that it is a clear book. So some points related to this. Clear book means that it was full of faith and guidance. The Torah's distinctive feature is that the Sharia laws, so the rules that they were supposed to follow, were given in the form of a clear and organized book for the first time. People were only given oral teachings before that. The Torah was revealed upon Prophet Musa alayhi salam, but Prophet Harun alayhi salam was a companion of Prophet Musa alayhi salam in the matters of prophethood, which was as per the request of Prophet Musa. Now, as when we study the story of Prophet Musa in more detail, we learn that Allah gave prophethood to Prophet Musa alayhi salam, gave him a mission, and then Prophet Musa alayhi salam also asked for his brother Hazrat Harun alayhi salam to be part of this mission. And therefore, the Torah has been associated with both prophets, Prophet Musa alayhi salam and Prophet Harun alayhi salam. The other point that I'll just remind you of here, that we've studied earlier prophets like Prophet Nuh alayhi salam, Prophet Hud alayhi salam. So they also were given some rules, and these prophets also explained the rules to the people, but those rules were always oral. So the prophets would tell the people that you do this and you don't do that. It is with Prophet Musa alayhi salam that for the first time an actual book was revealed with clear instructions on what is right and what is wrong. So that was the Sharia of Prophet Musa alayhi salam. Okay, now ayat number 118. وَهَدَيْنَاهُمَا الصِّرَاطَ الْمُسْتَقِيمِ, and we guided them both to the straight path. Which blessing did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala confer upon Prophet Musa and Prophet Harun alayhi salam? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guided them to the straight path. So this is a massive blessing. So this is a very big blessing where Allah guided them to the straight path. وَتَرَكْنَا عَلَيْهِمَا فِي الْآخِرِينَ, and we left for them both a word of praise among the later generations. So even today, whenever we think of Prophet Musa alayhi salam and Prophet Harun alayhi salam, we always think of them in a pleasant way, and then we send our blessings on them. What favor did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bestow upon Prophet Musa and Prophet Harun alayhi salam? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed them both with an honorable mention among later generations. Ayat 120 now. Salamun ala Musa wa Harun. Peace be upon Musa alayhi salam and Harun alayhi salam. What is the virtue of Prophet Musa alayhi salam and Prophet Harun alayhi salam as mentioned in this ayat? Peace will be upon them in all the worlds. Okay, next ayat 121. Inna kadhalika najzil muhsinin. Indeed, this is how we reward those who are righteous. So how does Allah reward His righteous servants? Allah grants them honor and high status in this world and in the hereafter. Innahuma min ibadina al-mu'minin. Indeed, they were both of our believing servants. What is the virtue of Prophet Musa alayhi salam and Prophet Harun alayhi salam as mentioned in this ayat? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala declared that they are truly faithful believers. Now, as I mentioned before, there will be more details about the story of Prophet Musa alayhi salam and Prophet Harun alayhi salam in book 2. So, Quranic Studies book 2. Here, we've just covered some very basic points. Okay, now moving on to another prophet, Prophet Ilyas alayhi salam. This is ayat number 123. وَإِنَّ إِلْيَاسَ لَمِنَ الْمُرْسَلِينَ. And indeed, Ilyas alayhi salam was surely one of the messengers. Which prophet is mentioned in this ayat? Prophet Ilyas alayhi salam is mentioned. Some words of knowledge. There are some commentators, mufassirin, who have said that he was from among the children of Israel, so the Bani Israel, and a descendant of Prophet Harun alayhi salam. He was sent towards people who were polytheists. They had an idol known as Baal. They worshipped it and supplicated to it. So they would basically worship this idol. Ayat 124, إِذْ قَالَ لِقَوْمِهِ أَلَا تَتَّقُونَ. When he said to his people, do you not fear Allah? What did Prophet Ilyas invite his nation to? He invited them to fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that is to be pious. In other words, he called them towards Tawheed. أَتَدْعُونَ بَعْلًا وَتَذَرُونَ أَحْسَنَ الْخَالِقِينَ. Do you invoke the idol Baal and forsake the best of creators? Now, some words of knowledge here, and this is about correcting a misunderstanding. Ma'azallah, the best of creators does not mean that there are numerous creators and Allah is the best of all of them. The word khalqun has two meanings. So khaliqeen comes from khalq, and khalq has two meanings. The first meaning is to invent or to originate, which means to create something out of nothing. In this meaning, the word khaliq is only specific to Allah. So khaliq would mean one who creates. So in the sense that khaliq means one who creates from nothing, then this applies only to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There is no creator other than Allah. No one can create out of nothing. No one can create life or take life except for Allah. And we know this, even when we make something or any scientist makes something, they start with things and make something else. So a carpenter starts with wood and makes a chair. A person or somebody who's making computers starts with all the raw material and makes a computer. But Allah is the only one who can create something out of nothing. The creators mentioned in this ayah are not in this sense of the word, because in this ayat, what Allah is saying that He is the best of creators. So in this ayat, the word creator or khaliq has a slightly different meaning. The second meaning of khalq is to determine or to calculate or to figure out and then to produce. In light of this meaning, ahsanul khaliqeen, the best of creators, would mean that Allah is the best among all those who determine and produce things, because Allah's assessments and calculations are always perfect and correct. So of all the entities that produce something, obviously human beings can also produce something. As I mentioned, human beings can say produce a chair, they can make a chair. But the things that Allah makes are infinitely superior to anything that anybody else can make or produce. Others may sometimes be right, but they will be wrong at other times. So anything or any entity other than Allah, so human beings for example, might sometimes be right, might sometimes be wrong. Humans might sometimes do things that are good, sometimes they might do things that are not so good. Although there are many artisans and producers worldwide, they do not match Allah's creation and Allah's assessment. So now moving on to ayat 126. Allah rabbakum wa rabba abaikumul awwaleen. That is Allah who is your Lord and the Lord of your forefathers. Which attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did Prophet Ilyas mention to his nation? He told them that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the Lord. In other words, Allah is not just their creator, He is the one who fulfills all their needs. He is the Lord, the creator and provider of their forefathers as well. He asked them why they had abandoned the best of creators and Lord and prostrated and worshipped idols that they themselves had made. He explained to his nation that the idol Baal was lifeless and the people had to safeguard it. So again, he made an argument much the way Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam had made an argument that you are creating these idols yourself and then you are worshipping them. It doesn't make sense. What you need to do is worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Similarly, in our life today, we sometimes pursue things almost as if they are God, but what we should remember is that we should follow the guidance from our true Lord, which is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ayat 127. فَكَذَّبُوهُ فَإِنَّهُمْ لَمُحْزَرُونَ. Then they denied him, therefore indeed they will surely be brought for torment. So what is mentioned about Prophet Ilyas's nation? They denied Prophet Ilyas alayhi salam despite his utmost efforts to guide them. What does this ayat mention about punishment for denying Prophet Ilyas alayhi salam? It says those who deny will be brought for punishment. This can mean punishment in both this world and the hereafter. And we've seen with stories of the other prophets that when the nations defied their prophets and they denied, they refused to listen, then they were punished in this world, and then obviously in the hereafter they will also be punished. Ayat 128, إِلَّا عِبَادَ اللَّهِ الْمُخْلَصِينَ, but not the chosen servants of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So who will remain safe from punishment? Allah's chosen people will remain safe from punishment. Those who believed in Prophet Ilyas alayhi salam and obeyed him. So these are the people who were saved, and those who disbelieved and denied, they were the people who were punished. وَتَرَكْنَا عَلَيْهِ فِي الْآخِرِينَ, and we left for him a word of praise among the later generations. So what favor did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bestow upon Prophet Ilyas alayhi salam? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed him with an honorable mention among later generations. Ayat 130, Salamun ala Ilyasin, peace be upon Ilyas alayhi salam. So which virtue of Prophet Ilyas alayhi salam is mentioned in this ayat? Peace will be upon him in all the world. So peace will be upon him in this world and then in the hereafter. Now some words of knowledge. Ilyasin is another name for Prophet Ilyas alayhi salam. It is similar to how the Holy Quran has called the same mountain Turi Saina and Turi Sinina. So sometimes the same person or the same entity has different names or multiple names. So similarly, Prophet Ilyas has two names which are mentioned in the Quran. One name is Ilyas and the other name is Ilyasin. Okay, now ayat 131. Inna kadhalika najzil muhsinin. Indeed, this is how we reward those who are righteous. How does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward his righteous servants? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala rewards them with the best reward in this world and the hereafter. This is apparent in the life stories of all the prophets. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave them honor and respect in this world and established a good name for them. And He will also grant them high ranks in the hereafter. Ayat 132, Innahu min ibadina al-mu'mineen. Indeed, he was one of our believing servants. Which virtue of Prophet Ilyas alayhi salam is mentioned in this ayat? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala declared him as a truly faithful believer. Now some words of knowledge. All of humankind are Allah's servants. Nonetheless, the stories of almost all the prophets mentioned that they were among Allah's special servants. This is to emphasize that the prophets are special servants chosen among humankind to receive prophethood. They hold a special status due to revelation and prophethood which others cannot attain. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala declares them His faithful servants, associating His name with them to show their lofty status, just like the phrases Allah's house and Allah's she-camel. So the point being that all the prophets are very special. They have been chosen by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Allah calls them His faithful servants. What we should also try and do is look at the life of all the prophets and how they surrendered themselves to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They did everything that Allah asked them to do, no matter how difficult the situation. And we should try to do the same. We should try and understand what Allah wants us to do. We should study the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We should understand what the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam has said, and then we should follow the guidance that Allah has given us. So that is it for this lesson. I will see you in the next lesson. All the best. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.